See? Well, I want to get to the bottom of this because I'm tired of guessing. And being. Mostly they just tell me that he loves me, and then they create all these fucking stories based on things that I see. I'm getting tortured a lot. Emotionally, psychologically, and physically. For days. Ever since I made the last fucking stories based on things that I see. Well, I want to get to the bottom.
Okay. You just saw what just this woman. I mean, I think I've watched her testimonials many times. I'm thankful this target individual talks about what's happening to her, because now in this stage of my targeting, I kind of understand what's happening to her. I know, looking outside, looking in, sometimes you can look at her, she just lost her mind, but it's because when you become a target individual with V2K, they manipulate your thoughts in ways just bizarre and weird, and they come up with ways of making stuff up in your brain that turns into like narratives of thoughts that are just nonsensical. Let me just start from the beginning. Just like this woman, I'm what you call a target individual. As a target individual, we become subjects in this program where they manipulate us in so many ways. And this technology is obviously coming from entities in the Department of Defense. And this is kind of technology that's what one would call as a, like, it's technology where they rewire you, they make you think, and they just basically push you to like suicide with these ways of thinking that's just far from who you are, and can create any stream of thoughts and make things in your brain seem like it's just battles of nonsensicalness. And as a target individual, you're subject to this. It's a developing weapon. They're developing this weapon, and it's a weapon that is neural based. And I've understood that what we are is basically guinea pigs, right? Like a lot of this technology, that are machine learning, they need more and more and more samples. They need more and more subjects. The more subjects, the better it gets. That's why you see this poor woman, you see children, you see these people do that to everybody, including babies. And they do these things, and it's so disturbing. But it's for the purpose of creating, like improving this technology, to improve it, to make it even more and more and more and more better at what it does. So in this case, it's definitely harmful things. And find ways to do things in certain ways. Some of the tactics are, of course, are going to be the same. Some the things that works are going to be continuously used, and continue to see how they can do. Like it's. I've understood this. We're subject, human subject. We're guinea pigs, and this whole program around us is meant to break us down. And there's a lot of women. I don't know if it's a high percentage of women or not, but there's a lot of women. That's at least worth saying that. Um, and with this V2K satanic telepathy, they can create any stream of thoughts. They can impose ways of thinking and start making you think of yourself in different ways, and even create stories that you know is falsified. Why are you making these stories up? And sometimes what they do is like, oh, you see, they're gonna see this story. Like, for example, she just describe something that just happened to me not too long ago. How she sees something and they start creating stories and make stories up in her mind based on something she saw somewhere. Like she see like a story about it, and maybe it could be a newspaper. Something happened there. Oh, they start making things up to break her down. For me, this something just happened. I'm watching some news and they talk about traveling to Asia, or not even news. I was what was it? It was like something I don't know, and it addressed like traveling to Asia, and sex travel to Asia. And immediately, they start making me think of some disgusting ways of thinking. And listen to this. For me, they've been trying to pin me in something as something I'm not. Now, I know my imperfection, but this something they're creating is falsified. As a matter of fact, they try to erase me and create this as me. One thing they've done, for example, is to try to make me be somebody I'm not. Um, I remember a while ago, there was a nice nighttime. What's it? One of the specials edition, and it was about foreigners going to like Southeast Asian countries. So, I don't know. It was Filipino, Vietnam, and they will go and do things to kids because there's pedophiles that they'll sell their kids and nasty things like that. It was so disgusting. A lot of like Westerners would go there, which I'm gonna say something that's ironic. These people create and project reality in so many ways. And so it was so disturbing. I remember that they changed in my brain in different ways to make me thinking that it was so disturbing. The way I'm remembering this memory is inclusive of now stimulation they make me have. It's so foul. But then they try to be like, oh, but you thought of going to Japan. It's like, yes, I thought about going to Japan. You say, oh, they also try to make me think, oh, but you find Japanese women attractive. You say you thought that maybe you would enjoy being with a Japanese woman if you were there. Matter of fact, sorry, this is a Japanese girl. But now when you say girl, you mean literally a child. Like, it's so crazy. Like a Japanese child, not a woman. And they were like, but because I remember when I was talking to somebody, it's like, yeah, I think the girls in Japan are not bad. Like, and I'm talking about like obviously women, but they say, oh, you say girls, so girls mean kids. Do you understand how stupid it is? So they're like, oh, you wanted to go to Japan so you can be with like a Japanese child. It's like saying, oh, the girls in South Africa and South America are like this, and they say, oh, girls. So girls, that means that they delude just. And they try to make me imagine that's what you want to do, just like that's this nightlife edition. You go there, you get with a child. It was so disturbing. So disturbing. And make me imagine these stories in your head, just like this woman you just heard. I said, what? These people are delusional. And reality is no, first of all, it was not Japan. Japan is so much more than just going there for, But have I thought of going to certain countries like Colombia or some South American countries or either some European countries where there's beautiful women, and I'll be like, oh, yes. But they're trying to change that into the pedophilia things. It's so nasty. So nasty. It's disgusting. And try to make me imagine this Dateline, Nightlife, whatever special edition about this fucking pedophiles going into like Vietnam, the southeastern country, Laos. I don't know where it was. If it was Vietnam, Filipino, something like that. To be with some babies, it was so nasty. And now, like when they make me imagine this memory of this documentary, they're adding stimulation, manipulating the memories. It's so foul. Matter of fact, the funny part is, I remember going to China. When I went to China, I went to China, and I remember being in China. And as I'm in China, we're in a nightclub, and there was this, and I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be very honest here. We're in a nightclub, and apparently, it was a business thing. And then the business person, we ended up going to a nightclub, and there was this girl that came toward me, and she was supposed to be my date, right? And some other girl went with my friend, and that was supposed to be his date. His girl was this Colombian, very voluptuous woman. The girl I was with, or that came to me at this club, she not, I would say, womanly. And I remember being like, she asked me, and she's like, do you like me? And I was like, this is not fair, because look at her and look at you. I mean, she's like very womanly, and you're not, and it's not to judge. For me, it was not my cup of tea. And I said, You know what? I felt embarrassed to say it, but I said, no, I don't. She's like, okay, and she left. And so that alone should kind of make you understand that I was more into somebody who looked more like a woman. Later on, I was like, maybe, I should have thought about it. I should have, because I've never been with a Chinese woman. Like, maybe I could. But at the moment, I was like, there's no way. And I'm glad because that I'm going to be with her. When this Colombian woman is there, no way. Never. What? Now, of course, I think the shoes, they were both adult women, obviously. But, let's just say the physique of Chinese women might look a little bit small than others. So she was like a young adult or so. But either way, for me, I was like, I'm sorry, I'm not interested. I'd rather be with a woman who looks like her. This is the truth. I'm going to be honest. I'm not perfect. And maybe later on, I was like, hey, maybe I should have tried, maybe, I've never been with a Chinese person, so maybe that would have, but at the time, I'm so glad that, because trust me, it was the right choice, because of, even now, today, I always remember this moment, thinking about this Colombian woman. So, reality. It's crazy. And I remember, like, my coworkers, I don't know what they were trying to say. It's like, oh, how's the girls in China? I was like, oh, whatever. At the end, I was like, if you only knew, that was actually a Colombian, but a woman. But, and even now, I've always thought about it. But they're trying their best to paint me in something else. I'm not perfect. I know my imperfection. But a child? They're delusional. They're trying their best to paint me in something else. But the reality and this thing they try to change. When this article came out about these agencies, finding out those agents, I don't know which Department of Defense agents, will go to this foreign country, get child porn, and then distribute that to their coworkers. Reality. Well, they're making me imagine some nightlife story. They try to come up with different story to try to, and the embarrassment of, like, when I was actually at a place where in China, where there's some Chinese young woman who's, maybe in her mid-20s or whatever, who asked me, do you like me? Are you interested in me? And I looked at her and I felt uncomfortable to say that, but I was like, honestly, I don't. And I know what she meant. I was like, she's like, okay. And she meant, like, are you interested in me? I was like, I don't. And so, because I was looking at her and I was looking at her, I was like, this is like womanly woman. I was like, I'm sorry. And I tried to be as polite as I could, but it was the truth. But you see how they try to flip things around, they create the stories. That's how they have the ability to create story. Because I saw something there, they try to create a story. Well, the reality is the pedophiles are these Asians that go into these foreign countries, which are Southeast Asia, somewhere there, do things to little kids, take picture of these little kids, and share those to other people in this agency. Those are in the documents. He got child porn from whatever country it was in Asia, and then we'll share that. Well, they're making me come up with some stories. As like, oh, but you say Japanese, you say Japanese girls. Clown us. You see? But that's how they do these things. They rewire your brain in these retarded ways. Now, regardless of what's going to happen to me, I understand what this is about. I'm ready for whatever's going to happen to me. One thing is for sure, these people know that something's going to come back to them. They had to block themselves from reality. So reality is going to come one way or another. I understand the reality I'm in. And so I expect that reality. They don't expect the reality. They just expect it for them. They just got to block it out till it happens to them. Me, I'm like, okay, when is it coming? Because I know it's going to come. You just don't know. Delusional trash. Tell my target individuals stay strong.